This is Gerry-Anna with Goldstar Puppy Academy, and I'm here today to talk to you about setting your puppy up for success with some really good management strategies that you can use at home.
Management is key to keep your puppies safe and teach them good habits. Management means setting up the environment so that your puppy can make good choices. It also prevents your puppy from getting into trouble and practicing undesirable behavior. Most importantly, it keeps your puppy safe. Management tools include crates, exercise pens, tethers, baby gates, and leashes, just to name a few. I'm going to talk in more detail about how to use each of these management tools, and you may find that some work better for you than others. You can use any of these tools to feed your dog's meals, for daily naps, for bedtime, to manage nipping and over-aroused behavior, to give your other pets a break, and to keep your puppy safe when you leave the home. All right, first we're going to start with a crate. In my opinion, every puppy should be taught to be comfortable and relax in a crate. Even if that's not where you keep them for the majority of the day, you might use one of these other management tools that we're going to talk about. But using a crate helps with house training. Your crate should be just big enough for your puppy to stand up, turn around, and lay down. If it's much bigger than that, young puppies might have accidents in the crate. The key is that the crate is small enough that your puppy doesn't want to potty in there because it knows that it will kind of have to lay in its mess if it does go in the crate. So this helps teach your puppy to hold their bladder. When a puppy is allowed to roam free or have too much space, when they're active, their bladder's more active, so they're going to have accidents in bigger spaces. The crate is super important for this. It keeps them safely contained. It does take up more space than an exercise pen, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. And the other thing that people don't always think about is teaching your puppy when they're young, to be comfortable in a crate can make a huge difference when they're older. Maybe there's a hurricane and we need to crate them up and they need to go stay at a shelter or something with you. It's really helpful and less stressful if they already know how to do that behavior and relax. Any sort of travel, any sort of vet visit where they have to stay at the hospital, and usually they're going to be in like a cage at the vet clinic or at the groomer. All of those scenarios can cause a lot of stress for an animal that is not used to being in a crate. So there's a lot of reasons, even aside from house training, to teach your puppy to be comfortable here.
The next tool on our list is an exercise pen. I consider the exercise pen to be like your puppy's bedroom, whereas the crate is kind of their bed, so that's going to be their smaller space for sleeping, for maximum security. The pen is a little fenced in area in your home that keeps them safe. It also provides a barrier between them and your other pets if you have other pets. And they can go there and they can be in the pen and they can goof off and play because it's a little bit bigger. And you still don't have to worry about directly supervising them because you know they can't get into too much trouble. So, when possible, I like to put the crate inside the exercise pen. Obviously, this depends on the size of your crate and your puppy and everything. But if I do that, I will make the inside of the crate the softest, cushiest, most comfortable place to lay down. And the outside in the pen has toys scattered around, maybe a bowl of water, and some other objects that they might think is fun. But I want them to actively choose to nap in the crate if they want to go lie down, so it's the most comfortable place in the pen. This also provides options if you work a really long shift and need to leave your puppy home and don't have anyone to help you let them out. You could use an exercise pen and put a potty pad in there because it's a little bigger and it allows a little more space for them to do that if they needed to. Usually it's on a case-by-case basis with that sort of thing, so obviously feel free to contact me if you have questions about that setup for yourself. When choosing your pen, always get taller than you think you need in case your puppy is a climber.
Okay, tethering. This is one of my favorite management strategies because it's easily portable and you can pretty much do it anywhere. So all you're doing is, in this case in the photos, you'll see that I have a double-ended leash that I'm just hooking around a heavy piece of furniture. You can do a similar thing with a carabiner on the end of a leash. You don't have to buy a double-ended leash, but it's just really handy. So you're basically hooking the leash to your puppy's collar or harness, and you're hooking it to a heavy piece of furniture, so they have a radius of about 5 or 6 feet. Usually in that radius area, I want to put a comfy place to rest, maybe a water bowl. The water bowl I'll put at the end of, at the far reaches of the leash length, because I don't want them knocking it over with the leash, but I do want them to have access to water. And I'll also put toys, maybe a food toy, something to keep them entertained. This is great when you have other pets in your home, because they can easily get out of your puppy's radius when they're done or when they don't want to play anymore. And it can also give you training opportunities to only approach your puppy when they're sitting or being quiet or acting calm. And if they start to jump or fuss, you can, walk away. So it kind of helps work on polite greetings and not jumping on people. You can set up this scenario as a training scenario as well. You do have to keep an eye on them, just like the exercise pen, and look for potty cues. So you'll want to be taking your pup out still every 30 minutes to an hour, but if they're on the tether and you see them sniffing around, you might want to hurry up and get them outside. This easily transitions them as well to having the leash around your waist, so they could be tethered to you or they could be tethered to a piece of furniture. Very easy. And here's a cute video of Jake having fun on his tether. Okay, so the next tool we're going to talk about are baby gates. I usually advise that if you're going to do baby gates, go ahead and get the one that's a little more expensive, that has the nice walk-through option. If you mess around with the less expensive gates that you have to step over, I find those to be a recipe for disaster. I have tripped more than once stepping over a baby gate. The nice thing about the taller gates too is they have those vertical bars, so it's harder for your dog to climb over. And the one that I have actually has a cat door in it. Now I have large dogs, so if you have a small dog, they'd still be able to get through the cat door. But I love to use baby gates when you have a multi-species household, because you may have an area that's your cat safe zone, where your cat's food is, maybe the litter box, or if you have a bird or something like that, you might have a room where their main cage is, and you might want to keep puppy out of there. Your other animals need to have their own safe space as well. So it's really easy to live with baby gates even long term, because they just are, easy to go in and out of, and it prevents your dog from getting where you don't want them to go. All right, I also leave a leash on in the house with young puppies, and I just let them drag it around. So I would probably go to the dollar store or, even a thrift store and pick up just a light little thin leash, leave that on them, and most of the time you're gonna have your puppy contained either by tethering or in the exercise pen or in the crate. But in those times where you do want to take them, let them off, let them have a little freedom and experiment, usually you're gonna be actively training them or you're gonna be playing with them. The good thing about the leash is that you always know where they are, because generally you can see the end of the leash. So when they sneak off or they're in a certain corner of the room or behind the couch, you can see where the leash is and know where they are. It also allows you to get a hold of them without touching them, to gently redirect when they get into a puppy tantrum. So if they start getting really nippy and mouthy, and if you go try to pick them up right now, they're going to turn and just bite on you. It's nice when you have the leash, because you can just step on it, pick up the leash, and calmly walk them back to their exercise pen or crate or tether area and hook them back up when they get out of control. Very nice feature. And then you avoid getting bitten, but they also avoid practicing the behavior of squirming and biting while you're trying to pick them up. Okay, it's important to acclimate your puppy to their safe space. I consider any of these management strategies like you're teaching them to be in their confinement or safe space and be relaxed, right? And maybe they even like it after a while. They get used to it. We're going to pair their meals with that space. So make sure when you feed your puppy, you're making it count. We'll talk about food toys in another presentation, but you definitely want to put them in their crate or in their exercise pen, or mix it up. Maybe breakfast is in the crate, dinner or lunch is on the tether or in the exercise pen. Whatever combination of management tools you're using, split up the meals so that the dog has a positive association with that space. What I look for is when you go to grab that food bowl, food toy, or whatever it is, your puppy almost beats you to the crate or beats you to the exercise pen because they're excited to get in there to eat. It's a really easy way to teach them that this is a good place to be. Whenever you go to put your puppy in the safe space, so whether it's to hook them up to the tether or put them in the pen, you want to make sure all their basic needs have been met. So make sure they've just been out to potty, so you know that they have an empty bladder or bowels. Make sure that they have some water. Maybe they've had a little bit of play, like a 10 or 15 minute play session, and they're likely to be sleepy. Then when you place them in their safe space, you're going to give them a few treats or a chew bone or a Kong toy with a little bit of peanut butter, whatever it is to kind of encourage them to eat a little bit or chew and then fall asleep. That's the goal. All right, so just to wrap it up, general guidelines. Your puppy should be in one of these safe spaces that we've talked about in this presentation unless you are actively supervising or training them or taking them out in the yard to play or potty. Do not let your pup out of the safe space if they are barking or whining. Instead, wait for a few seconds of quiet. So this is really important, and why it's so important that you know that they've gone to the bathroom and their needs have been met before you put them in there. Because if they start barking or whining and you think, oh no, they haven't been out to pee for a couple of hours, then there might be barking because they have to pee. So you'll have to take them out and let them go. But if you set yourself up for success, then you can kind of let the barking and whining subside a little bit, which really, if you start doing this while they're young, it will be minimal, if at all. They will learn as soon as they get put into this safe space, it's calm, quiet, rest time. So just make sure, though, if they are barking or whining, that you're not immediately letting them out. You're trying to wait for a few seconds of quiet before you do. Make sure your pup has quality naps in their safe space every day. So puppies get overtired quickly, just like toddlers, and that's when a lot of the bad behavior tends to come out. So you want to make sure that they're getting at least 2 crate naps that are about 1 to 2 hours long every day. And that's a minimum. When I have puppies at my house for board and train, I'm generally taking them out, doing an active training session, play session with them for 20 to 30 minutes, depending on, their level of excitement. And then they're going back for rest time. Puppies need a lot of sleep. They're like infants. And if you have an overtired toddler that misses their nap, they're going to have a tantrum. So when your puppy starts becoming inconsolable, they're running around, they're biting your pants, they're biting on you, they're biting your other dog, that probably means they're overtired and they need a nap. So you don't have to be mad about it. People worry about using the crate or the exercise pen as punishment. It's not, because most likely your puppy's going to go in there and within 5 minutes, they're going to be asleep. So whenever they're getting out of control, grab a hold of that leash. Don't say anything. Don't be mad. Just calmly walk them back to their safe space and hook them up or put them in it, give them a couple treats, and walk away.
If you have any questions about which combination of these tools would work best for your puppy in your individual situation, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you.